Guidance. Go. Fido. Go. Prop.
Go.
GNC. Go. Max.
Go.
Eagle. Go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps. The cabin link check. Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, friends. How are you? Welcome to the Rift Nation Network. I am your host, Joni Skinner, from a different room tonight. It's a long story. I'll tell you all about it. But we are streaming live on the Rift Nation Network tonight and on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, and on Spotify. So if you are a podcaster, Spotify, Apple. I think that's it. So welcome, everybody. Please hit the like button and share. Thank you. Come on in, friends. Welcome to Wednesday night, another true crime where astrology does indeed meet true crime. I am well, Lee. This week is calmer than last Monday. I think Monday afternoon. So I had to move where I normally sit because my patient who had surgery Wednesday is now out there because I moved him down here from the loft because of, they give him those high-powered medicine. And I was afraid with surgery and an injury falling down the steps. You know how we worry. So it worked out great. It's actually worked out beautifully. So he's doing phenomenally. Thank you so much for all of your thoughts and prayers. He's doing better, I think, than I am. He's amazing. I'm so proud of him. His injury looks great. I finally found out tonight he was telling his uncle what happened. And so Matt works for, and we had snow Monday. So they were loading salt into the trucks. So some kind of a machine got stuck on another machine while they were loading the trucks to a flatbed or something. That's what I gathered. So I don't know, but his glove got stuck. So, he's very thankful that he didn't lose his hand. So that so he's healing, he's doing well. And I think it's because you guys sent so many prayers and so many good thoughts. But I believe all that. And Miss Cindy will attest to that with her new show on the Rift Nation when she starts, I think pretty soon, where she's going to be vibrational energy, sound energy, healing. She's the expert. So we will all be tuning in to Miss Cindy. That's for sure. I know I will be. I like those bowls, the healing bowls. I have to, I'm an air sign. Air signs have to have noise. Air signs are not very good meditators. We can't meditate. We fall asleep. Air signs communicate. So they have to have noise. Isn't that funny? So, and just a little shout out for my Pisces, Scorpios, and Cancers, who are water signs. I was just talking to Lois, we currently have 9 planets in water signs, and we have what we call a grand water trine. The moon is in Scorpio. Be kind to yourselves, water signs, because it's very, very emotional for y'all right now. So if you got to cry, cry. Nothing wrong with that. It's good for the soul. And there's very little earth energy right now floating around. So, take a walk, exercise. It's good for you. Clean, do things, be active. Be active. A water sign energy is very creative as well. Creativity, creative projects. Good for that. It moves. By Friday, it's all into Sagittarius, and then it's like party time. It'll all be gone. So just like that, this emotional, kind of a little sad, very intuitive energy will be gone. Oh, poor Miss Lois. Lois is a Cancer. I know Miss Linda is a Cancer as well. I'm falling apart. Needed Joni to calm me down. Well, I didn't really calm her down. I just sent her the copy of the transits, and I'm like, here's your culprit. Uranus is opposing the moon right now in Scorpio. So Uranus is electric energy. They're opposing, which means they're arguing. They're not getting along. So that little Uranus causes nervous anxiety. It's nervous anxiety. But what's very interesting is when Uranus and the Sun oppose, which they are, you get brilliant breakthroughs. So today I was coming home and Elon Musk, I guess, gave a talk somewhere. I don't know. But he was talking about Optimus, which is the robot that he has, where Optimus very quickly is going to be doing household chores, making I'm like, if Optimus Prime or Optimus the robot can put on a fitted sheet, I want one. I want a robot that will I'll bring in my groceries, bag my groceries so that there's not one item in one freaking bag. I want a robot. I want a nice robot though. I don't want kind of the creepy robot. I want one that looks, I don't know what it'll be, purple or glittery or something. I don't want like a creepy robot. The real creepy looking ones that they've got. No, maybe a little cat robot. Yeah, like a cat robot. I hope you all are doing well. I hope everybody's doing well and you're enjoying the fall weather. Hello, Miss Lee. Hello, chat. Let's look at the chat. Hello, Miss Kathy. How's Texas? And Miss Linda, how are you, my dear? I hope you're doing well, Miss Linda, with this Cancer. Linda is uses all of her creative energy too. She's so creative, so she paints and she writes and all that good stuff. That's good. And Lois is doing laundry, cleaning. That's perfect. So that's perfect. Hello, Miss Crystal. How are you, my dear? Crystal's a Gemini, so she's good. She's not feeling this. We don't really feel it. Thanks for sharing out, Lois. Hello, Mr. Ryan. How are you, my dear? Ryan's got great shows on the Rift as well. Can we send all snow to Florida since it melts faster there? Yeah, well, our friends from Canada, Miss Cindy, Miss Denise, and our friends from Canada send us this cold air. And they sent beautiful cold air this summer. It was wonderful. Remember that? Leah's not ready. Hi, Cindy. Lee's not ready for winter. I am not. I'm going to be a snowbird, I think. I think I'm going to be a Florida snowbird. Like leave right after Christmas and then come back. Glad he's doing well. Thanks, Linda. I'm really proud of him. Very, very proud of him. You know, he took excellent care of it. You know, my son-in-law had the same injury, and he did not elevate and ice his finger, and he ended up in the hospital with an infection. So he was adamant to tell Matt, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And you know, he was up. He set his alarm to take his antibiotics, and he did very well. He did great. And we had, I can't say enough about the kids that he works with, the ER, the surgeons, the doctors. We were in surgery in a day. It's phenomenal. Linda loves singing bowls, Cindy. We do. I love them too. It's going to be a great show. Looking forward to it. Still need to hear back from training on Restream. It'll be fun. Well, you know what we can do too, Cindy? Like right before you start, you could co-host with me on a Wednesday night and take over the ropes and do all the little buttons and pushes, and we can talk about astrology and energy and true crime, and that would be fun. So you could just come on and do that. Yeah. Yep, precautions are good while taking prescription meds. And they were strong ones too, I believe. I had to give ID and stuff when I picked them up. So I think it was. They were so good about everything. I need the bed one. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Linda or Miss Lois, anytime. Yeah, see, Crystal's doing good. Hi, Stephanie. How are you, dear? I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. I think it's you can feel the mood here too, because we're getting closer to holiday next week with Thanksgiving. So I think it just kind of ups our mood. I usually have all my Christmas stuff out by now, and I have not. So I'm going to do that this weekend. Do y'all have all the Christmas stuff up yet? I usually have mine up like right after Halloween. I'm really slacking, very slacker. I love Christmas stuff. So I'm going to do that this weekend. So next week's show, we'll have Christmas lights up. Kathy has to go feed the kids. Kathy always feeds wonderful meals to the kids. Try to be back in a few. Okay, hurry back, hon. Stephanie is doing okay. She's winding down. Well, you guys, we have a great show. And if you're just joining us new on the show, I am a forensic astrologer, which we combine what we call kind of like mundane astrology with true crime to come up with what we call event charts. Now, an astrology chart and a natal chart and an event chart are two different things. The event chart is more like what we call mundane astrology, which is event astrology. world events. Like we can pull up like the Canada's chart, United States chart. We can kind of, read it like an astrology chart. So forensic astrology falls more to the mundane portion of astrology. Now, mapping, that it was developed by Kirsty McIntosh, one of the world's best forensic astrologers who I studied under, who has been kind enough to have shown us all of the ropes. She's just came out with a brand new book, and it's an excellent book. I'll show y'all before we get done tonight. It's accurate. It's extremely accurate. The astrology is beyond accurate. It still blows me away at the accuracy. We don't know how it works. It just works. At the time of the person goes missing or an event happens, let's say it is a homicide, we take that timestamp and whatever the planets are doing at that particular time, it has to be accurate, is how we read the chart. And I've got a really interesting, if you look to the right of the screen, an old case, I guess, I don't want to call cold cases. I don't like that word cold case, but it's an older case where this couple, they were out for the evening in Philly at a bar, went to leave the bar, had a great time. We're going to walk to his truck. They have vanished. No sign of the truck, nothing. So we've got that mystery. We've also got tonight a little missing 9-year-old girl from Vanderburg Village, California. 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard. 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard. I'm going to go over this case just to get information out there over social media because of the fact it's important, because she has not been found yet. We don't have one single timestamp for little Melodee for me to do any astrology, but I'm going to go over the story with you all so that you can be aware of it. If you see any information on her, let's share her. I'll put her missing flyer out on my Facebook page and on Rift Nation Network's Facebook page. Let's start sharing this, because wait until you hear this. This is really, it's very sad missing case on this little 9-year-old, beautiful little girl, little Melodee. She's in California. So in the area of Utah, Colorado, in that area, that's where the authorities are asking people to please check their Ring cameras, check their dash cams or whatever they're called on their car, check everything. Look at her picture, look at her mother's picture. Did you see them at a gas station? Did you see them anywhere? Because mom is not being cooperative with the authorities. So let's go over that case, and then we'll go over the other case. So come on in, you guys. Crystal says, I don't even put up a tree anymore. My cat's knocking over. I have a little light up tree and Nutcracker. Oh, that's cute. Cracker Barrel has cute stuff. Okay, here we go. I'm going to make this bigger for y'all. Let me see. Where is the bigger one? Here we go. So this is a picture of little, isn't she beautiful? Look at that baby. Little Melodee Buzzard, okay? She is from Vanderburg Village, California. Now, little Melodee at 9 years old is homeschooled. So this case began on October the 14th when the school, kudos to the school contacted authorities and said, we haven't seen or heard from her. Can you go do a wellness check? Okay, that was on October the 14th. A school administrator reported that the girl had been absent for a prolonged period of time. So the police searched the home. Melodee was nowhere to be found. Okay, she was nowhere to be found. Her mother could not provide a reasonable explanation for her whereabouts and has been uncooperative And this has gone on since October the 7th with investigators. Okay. So the investigation starts that around October the 7th, which you're going to see this in this camera right here. There she is. And the police, law enforcement stated that she and her mama went to a car rental company to rent a car. This was like October the 7th, October the 7th, around that time frame. Okay. The investigation through police, this was the last that they have made public. Now, there are other public cameras of little Melodee, but they have not released those. This is the last one that's been made public, where she went into the car rental company with her mother. Okay. And her mama rented a 2024 white Malibu. Okay. The police have stated that little Melodee had on a wig and had her hoodie on. Okay. If you can see, there she is. And if you can see, she's got very straight hair in this photo. And look at that little one's curly hair in that picture. So the police are saying she had on a wig. This trip went cross country. Her mother, Ashley, went on a 3,000-mile trip from California to Nebraska in 3 days. Drove 3,000 miles in 3 days. Okay? From their home in Lompoc, California to Nebraska. On October the 7th, Ashley left California with Melodee, driving the white 2024 Chevrolet Malibu, and returned 3 days later without the girl. Now, that period is the critical time frame for that the police want people to look on their cameras from around October the 7th to the 10th. Okay. It's when she showed up on October the 7th to rent the car. And during this trip, Mama changed the plates on the car from California. I believe they were she changed the plates to avoid, being seen, apparently. She changed the plates. And of course, they're wearing wigs on October the 7th. The plates were changed midway through the trip to avoid detection. Okay. The investigators believe that Ashley swapped wigs throughout the trip, changing to a darker wig. She was wearing different wigs throughout this course of the trip. Okay, now this is the map. I don't know if y'all can see that very well, where they had left from California, went to Nebraska, turned around, and came back. The last known visual spotting of her that the police saw was on October the 9th at the Utah-Colorado border. So that's where they want everybody to concentrate, at around the Utah-Colorado border. Here she is again when she came back from her trip trying to rent another car and was turned down. Now, the neighbors put up signs in front of her home, missing signs, and she took down some of them. So there are, there's some weird things that are going on with this case. Okay. Now, Mama, the family is saying that she has suffered from some mental issues. And what's fun now, you say, where could the daddy be? Now, Melodee's father was killed when she was 6 months old. And apparently this is when things started to happen with Ashley mentally. She was 6 months old when her father was killed in a motorcycle wreck. Now, what is funny that has come out is that when Ashley, the mother, was 9 years old, her mother had to leave and take her as a child at 9 to avoid an abusive relationship, and she had to keep Ashley safe. What seems kind of funny that Melanie is 9 years old. So is this something that's playing through her mentally? Nobody seems to know. Okay, fast forward a little bit. Her friend, whose name was Tyler Brewer, came over to her home on October the 7th, paralegal, and tried to get information from Ashley about where Melodee was located. She was not cooperating. Now, he has since filed a complaint stating that she became agitated, had a box cutter, would not allow him out of the house. So what happened is he filed a complaint, and here she is. Okay, I'll come back to that route. She was subsequently, I don't think I have. No, I don't have another picture of that. She was arrested. She was arrested for that, and it is a felony charge where she would not let him out. She is not cooperating with the police. Now, the family there is a private eye on this case. He's working pro bono for grandma and aunts and the rest of the family. Her husband's family and friends are around the Utah, Colorado area. This is the area they want people to really check, is this Fruta, Loma, Mac, Redlands, that area around Colorado and Utah. And that's, so was little Melodee hidden? Was she taken to friends? Did Ashley have some kind of a breakdown where she thought maybe she was in danger, that little Melodee was in danger? No one knows. She is not cooperating with the authorities. I can't even get one little timestamp out of this. If I could get a timestamp, I would do the astrology, but I check it every day to see if they have released any more info, and they have not. So this is Santa Barbara Police Station. If anybody has seen them, 2 women traveling. There's a lot of rumors and, sightings, but are you guys hearing me? I'm not having connection issues. Are you guys still hearing me? Everything seems to be on here. I'm not losing anything. I don't know. Can you guys hear okay? Crystal's having some connection issues. Mercury's in retrograde, so that's kind of normal. But so here is their picture, if you all have seen them. Okay, so that's this case. I will keep up on this case. Put in the chat if you can still hear me okay. Okay, Stephanie, no problems. Linda, no problems. I think it might be you, Crystal. I'm not sure, hon. Good. Okay. So that's this case, Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. And I will put, oh, hi, Miss Peggy. How are you, dear? I will put, and Lee can hear too. I will put this information on Rift Nation Network's Facebook page tomorrow. I will put it on my page as well, on my page. So if you guys could please share that flyer, at least if we can share the flyer, if people have maybe spotted her. It's like the PI said, right now, the only help we can get is by getting the information on this case out there for somebody to have spotted her. Somebody saw something, and maybe they don't know about it. So I think right now the best thing to do is share it on social media. Social media is so powerful nowadays with true crime. It literally solves cases, and it does help. So we'll get that out. And I'll stay on it if I get any kind of a timestamp. I wish they would release the last sighting of her on video around Colorado, Utah, because if I had that timestamp, that would be a perfect timestamp. So I'm waiting for it. Alrighty. Here is our case in Philly, a little bit closer to home. At least this is in Philly, PA. Now, this case is a 2005 case. So when we go back to 2005, we have to remember we didn't have the Ring cameras. We didn't have the technology that we have now 20 years ago. Seems odd to say 2005 was 20 years ago, but we didn't have that technology. So when people were just walking down the street, yeah, they disappeared. There were no cameras. Well, there were cameras, but not many, like at banks and stuff like that. That was about it. So this is the story of a young couple, Danielle and Richard Petrone, Danielle Imbo from Philadelphia. They had been dating, and she had been separated from her husband. Now, there are some backstories out there regarding, it was not a good separation, blah, blah, blah. But, we don't know. And I hate to repeat that stuff if we just don't really know. But on that particular night, on February 19th in 2005, it was a Saturday night, the two of them, Daniel and Richard, joined another couple for drinks at a bar called Abilene's Bar on South Street in Philly. Witnesses stated that the couple left the bar at 11:45 p.m., timestamp, and a place where they left from. Wait till you see these maps. En route to Danielle's New Jersey home. Okay? They were last seen walking on South Street toward his parked vehicle. And his vehicle was a 2001 Dodge pickup truck. Okay? So we have a young couple out for the evening. There's pictures of his truck. Young couple out for the evening. Look at that. There's a good-looking young couple, aren't they? He worked in the family's bakery. Okay? Nothing. They have found no vehicle, no trace of them, nothing. There are rumors that this was a for hire, for hire. I'm going to show you on the chart, and you're going to be like, wow. Since 2008, the FBI has been investigating the disappearance as a possible murder for hire, but has not named any suspects. In 2021, the disappearance continued to be investigated by the Philly Police, Mount Laurel Police, New Jersey State Police, and the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office. Extensive investigative. There is a private search and recovery dive team called Adventures with Purpose. They're great. Adventures with Purpose. They were actively searching for this couple. Okay. So let's take a look at the astrology because we have a great timestamp. We have, there's their missing poster, missing flyer. There's a picture of Abilene's Bar. And I don't know if it's still current, if it's still there. Again, February 19th, met up South Street, had a couple drinks with another couple. The other couple said it was fine, great night, and they left. Okay, so on the astrology chart, which is the event chart, I used the date and the time it's 11:45 p.m. Okay, so the pink arrows represent the victims. Now, in this case, we have two victims. Do you do two charts or one? Of course, we only do one chart. They were together. Okay. So they are represented by the pink arrows. The pink arrows that's the astrology showing us the victims. It's a Scorpio rising in the first house. So the victims, we look for the ruling planets of Scorpio, which are Mars and Pluto. Where are they? Pluto is in the second house. Mars is in the third house. What does that tell us immediately about the two people at this time? This chart is so was so spot on. And that's what happens when we get a great timestamp. Pluto tells us that's them. Mars tells us they were within a neighborhood in the third house. Okay, and I'll break down what the third house means in a second. Then we look for the moon. The moon is always the co-ruler of the victims. Uh-oh, it's up in the 9th house at the top of the chart. And that tells us something else immediately. That tells us they were in the neighborhood and they were moved. Remember the 9th house. When we see the 9th house in an event chart of a missing persons, they were moved. Mars represents also violence. The violence happened in the neighborhood while they were walking around the neighborhood, and they were later moved to another location. Okay. The perp, let's take a look at the perp in the green arrows. The green, it's the 7th house. It's represented by Taurus. Who is the ruler of Taurus? Venus. Where is Venus located in this chart? 4th house. That's odd, isn't it? 4th house is home. Very weird. But we're going to also take a look at other markers in this chart. Look at the 5th house, how packed it is with planets. What's the 5th house? It's partying. It's the bar. So this is what was going on at the bar. Okay, we know they were at the bar. So let's break down what exactly this chart is telling us. So we're going to look at the 1st house. Okay, we've got 2nd house. That's where they are. The victims are in the 2nd house, remember, because the ruling planet is Pluto. This means something was gained, money and leverage, done with money involved. So remember what we found out, that the FBI was investigating this as a unaliving for hire. It's in the chart. Money was involved because it's 2nd house. 2nd house represents money. Mars is in the 3rd house. The victims took place in a neighborhood or within a short distance. Victims were taken somewhere else. Communications are key. They were taken while walking, and it was a sudden attack because Mars was in there. So right now we know that they were attacked while walking, and it was a violent attack because Mars is violence. It also represents weapons. Okay? So we're getting the whole story right here. Okay? So the 3rd, now we're going to look at, because it is the 3rd house, they were moved from this initial location of crime to the 9th house. We're going to look up to the 9th house where the moon is. Someone believes, and that's the perp, that their actions were righteous. They justified what they did. Okay? Moved with an intent of, it was premeditated, planned at a pretty good length of time. So this was a planned event. The 9th reaches further than the 3rd. Okay? The moon is up there too. This means they were moved. It was a premeditated attack. Saturn is up there with the moon. Remote areas, difficult terrain. This is an area where people would say, I would never look there. Okay. It's also near a large highway. Remember, the 9th house is a large main highway. Could indicate water. Look, Cancer is ruling the 9th house. They're in water. You can't read this chart any more explicitly than it's telling us, okay? Let's look at the 5th house. Uranus is in the 5th house. It's a romantic connection, partying, leaving the bar. We see the sun in there too. That can indicate danger. was the person in the bar. Could indicate an older man out having fun. Who knew they were there? This was premeditated. Who knew they were going to the bar? We have Mercury, a vehicle. I think somebody else was in that bar. So they need to check. I'm sure they did, checked everybody in that bar. Okay. So that's telling us a whole story here. Okay. So who do we have left? We have Jupiter in the 12th house. Remember, the 12th house is what we don't see in a crime chart. It's what is hidden. It's the secret house. It could be a foreign perp. Look in areas perhaps near a church or a school. Hidden enemies were out of view. Okay. Now, what's funny about this is when we have Jupiter in the 12th, it could indicate a hidden accomplice. A second suspect could appear. Well, look at that. Libra is a duality sign. There are only two dualities in crime charts that can indicate two people. Gemini is one of them, and Libra is the other. Somebody else that the perp, and we look at the perp in Venus, is connected to this crime. So I'm going to just go out on a limb and say two people were involved. Okay. That kind of tells us everything we need to know on this chart. It mapped it out beautifully. I was pretty amazed at this chart. I love when they do that. That was odd. I thought, well, I'm going to look at their natal charts. I'm going to dig a little bit and let's see who they were after. Who was targeted? That's his chart. Not a lot there. Look at her natal chart. Now, there were talk that it was him. According to her natal chart, whenever we see a natal chart and there is an unaliving, I've said it 1,000 times, the lunar nodes are triggered. Look at her lunar nodes. Pluto was squaring the south node and her ascendant, which is her physical body. And then on the other side of Pluto, it was squaring her natal north node. Okay. The sun was conjunct her natal north node, opposing her south node, natal south node, in the 11th house with friends. So would I say she was the target? According to the astrology, absolutely she was. She would have been, I would consider the target. It's just what the astrology is saying. I don't know that for a fact. It's just my opinion. Now, what's interesting about this map, y'all, this is so interesting. Look at all the lines that are over. And as you all know, the bar was the middle dot, the middle pink dot. Look at all those lines to the up. What is that? Northwest. That caught my eye. And also because Uranus was involved too, I wanted to look for an airport. Also, I was looking for a school too, because Jupiter hidden around a school or a church. Okay. And water. We got to look for water. So if you see what I did with pink, and the blue dot on this map is where she lived. It was funny. The mileage gave me the exact spot to where she lived. Weird. I don't know why. That was weird. Very weird. Okay, so we're going to take some close-ups of this map. Look at that. There's the airport right there that I circled. Airport. And there's waterway in between those lines. I would check that area in that river. And I'm sure it's one of those rivers that runs fast and it's very difficult. But I would check there in between that wedge. That wedge is very interesting to me because it's got other markers that are the astrology is showing us. They're very well hidden in the 12th house. Very difficult to find. And it takes a while. Now, this area where all these other lines are, look at all those lines up there going northwest. Look at that. There is a river northwest that's running along a main highway. Look there, because of the fact that, look at that tight wedge in there. I would look there. That main highway along that river right where it bends. Those are my two big areas of interest. By this airport, and that's the area of interest. All of these lines are, I would look in those areas. First, I would go northwest. Definitely go northwest. But then I would check this where it says Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and that by that airport area, by a main highway. Definitely a main highway with the 9th house. It's there you go. Boom, right there. I would look right there too. Now, that would be very difficult to do in water 20 years later, but hey, our search and rescue people are the best. They can find anything, Adventures with Purpose, Peace River in Florida with Michael and his crew. They can find anything. These guys are so dedicated. They go on these, and I don't like the word cold case, the older cases all the time. But I love this tight wedge. And you see where that wedge, it looks like a pizza slice. I love those tight wedges in a chart. If I see that, I get excited because those are really excellent. Excellent, excellent. So that is there. There we go. Look at all those. Check every one of those lines. Where's the truck? That's a big truck to get rid of. Could be, yeah, where's the truck? So that's their story. Very interesting. I love the chart. And what I did in last week's show, I wanted to show y'all some pictures that I had picked up from local papers when Louisville had that horrific plane crash. That I don't know if y'all saw these pictures, and I wasn't sure if they were shared locally with everybody. It was the UPS plane down in Louisville on a Mars-Uranus opposition. If you recall, Uranus is air travel, flights, Mars, fire. Look at that. Mars-Uranus opposition. So look at that, where they had it right there, close, right there. The pictures are amazing. This was the field, like the burn field. It was just a phenomenal fire. Look at that. And Louisville, they literally had the entire city. It's a big city. I think it's our biggest city in Kentucky. Was on lockdown, the entire city. So look at that, the UPS plane. Those are crazy pictures. It's just such a sad event. It's a giant hub it's a giant UPS hub in Louisville. But look at that. They did a wonderful, but that many lost their lives. Just a sad event. But Mars, Uranus. And what's funny with astrology is we say, well, that's Mars, Uranus. How come there weren't 1,000 airplane crashes at that time? How do you know where? Well, how would you pull that up and look at it? Well, we would look at Louisville's natal chart. We would look to see where that fell and every city, every state has a birth chart. So you would look on Louisville's natal chart to see what was going on at that time. I guarantee it's there somewhere. So they're just phenomenal pictures. Look at that. Just crazy. But kudos to the first responders. They said, everybody said they were just amazing. And my friends down there were sending me pictures from their offices because they were close. They were texting people going, "What is going on?" They didn't. Nobody down there knew what was going on. They were all frightened because all they saw was the smoke and the big fire, but they didn't have any news. So we had to tell them what was going on. Crazy. But everything is so fast now. It's within split seconds. Like if there's like a plane crash or something, we know immediately on our phones. It's crazy. Well, that's the show this week. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the show? There's a couple of them. I've got them. You can look. It's in there. Yeah, there's just their natal chart. Every city has a natal chart where you live. So if you want to find out what's going on in your area, pull up their the city's natal chart. It's interesting. Very interesting. Sure, Crystal, look it up and look and see where the Mars-Uranus opposition was hitting in their chart. That would be very interesting. More than likely, I don't know what, but that's it. But that I will put Melodee Buzzard's flyer out, and I think that that Philly story is just so interesting to me. So, oh, you're more than welcome, Lois. I was really thrilled at how that chart matched up with the Philly couple. Very thrilled with that mapping. I hope it gets shared out, and I hope it gets shared out and they can search in those areas. Oh, that's so sweet, Linda. Thank you so much. He goes back to the doctor tomorrow. So we'll see. I think he's starting to get a little antsy. You know how they get a little antsy. Oh, I want to, go back to work, but he just can't. I mean, he just can't right now. But it'll be here soon enough. He'll be back to work. So it is interesting, Stephanie, isn't it? The astrology is so accurate, so very accurate. And another thing I wanted to touch base with you guys on Michael Monkey Vaughn's case. If you recall in that case 2 weeks ago, on Michael's event chart, I said it was money. Look, it was another second house chart, just like the couples. Remember Michael Monkey Vaughn? It was released this week in the affidavit with the probable cause that the plot, when they abducted Michael Monkey, guess what? It was a plot for money, for $10,000 to abduct that little child. So once again, the astrology, it had second chart activity, and I said it was for money. And sure enough, that came out this week. That's what I think it was the affidavit. So let's just hope that we can find the little one. So I'll keep an eye on that one. I'll keep an eye on Melodee's case. You know what's really good about that? Stephanie says, I hope they figure out what happened to that little girl. Very sad. I'm hopeful with this case. I'm hopeful that her mother maybe had an episode that triggered for back when she was 9 years old and she was being protected by her mother. And I'm hopeful that she took Melodee maybe in some kind of a mental breakdown or whatever, to friends or whatever, family, somebody to protect her. So I'm hoping that's what I'm hanging on to, that little beautiful little girl will be found. And maybe they're out in this area is very rural where they were. Maybe people aren't getting any information that she's missing. So let's just hope that maybe Ashley took her to maybe his people or his family or friends and said, hey, can you watch her? I'm having a rough time. Let's just pray that that's what has happened. I'm very hopeful that that's what has happened. Let's hope so. I'll keep you guys updated on that one for next week. Yeah, he needs to heal. I hear you. He's doing a great job of healing. He's taking care of it. Great info. Thank you for all you do. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Denise. You know I love it. I love to do this. This is what forensic astrologers do. We love this. It's an obsession. And once again, we have Kirsty's new book, The Forensic Astrology Workbook, on Amazon. She gives you everything you need to do forensic astrology. Phenomenal. And I'm blessed to call her a friend. Teacher, mentor, she's a great astrologer. So, oh, you're welcome, hon. Chuckles for life. You're welcome. Hey, you guys have a great week, and we'll do kind of something special next Wednesday, because for us down here, for our Canadian friends, it's Thanksgiving holiday. Thursday and Friday of next week. Isn't it? Right? Yeah, I think so. Yes. It's going too fast, y'all. The holidays are coming too fast. Christmas is almost here, you guys. So listen, have a great week. And remember, all of this water energy with this grand water trine, all those planets in Scorpio are moving into Sag. We're getting into Sag season on Friday. So just like that, it's going to be like, it's going to flip. Everything's going to flip, and it's going to be like, wow, I feel great today. I'm happy today. So the energy will shift. And it's, Sagittarius is a fire sign. We need the fire energy. We need some fire and earth energy. So it'll get better. It'll be fine. Just give it one more day. Stay busy. Oh, and if you are a water sign, don't take things too personally, because you're very, very like touchy. It's very emotional time for water signs. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. It'll pass. Just stay busy. So everybody, listen, have a great week. And I will see y'all next week, and have a good one. Enjoy this weekend. Enjoy Sag coming in too. It's a fun sign, fun energy. So have a great week. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Thank you. Good night.